Hey everyone, this is P4L, and I'm back doing another video on this guy. I just did a live stream, and I apologize if you were one of the 40 some odd people that actually watched that live. It was painful. This guy broke me because I went into that not having looked at the instructions really in detail, not having looked at any other reviews, not even having opened the figure beforehand to try to do anything. I wanted to make it a pure and honest unboxing revisit, and yeah, it was painful, but it hurt my pride so much that I'm doing this video just to show you that I can, with practice, get this guy transformed, and has actually some, and looking at it now, there are some key tips that will help you get this guy into alt mode and out of alt mode as quickly and easily as possible. So without further ado, let's do the instructions. So we're going to pull up on these little tabs first. You can pull out on the chest. You can see the chest slides open. We're going to need to do that, so we'll just take care of that now. The backpack, we're going to pull this down, rotate it around 180 degrees. And from here, we're going to pull on the neck to release this big honking rectangular tab here. I guess it's kind of rectangular. One thing that I think is different from the instructions that I recommend you do is rotate the head 180 degrees, because when you fold these pieces in along with these little tabs, there's a little hole here, and that hole, you can see the face if you rotate it, if you just tuck in the head without rotating it. I don't like that. I like to keep it at least somewhat hidden, so I go ahead and rotate the head. Alright, from here, we're going to pull this backpack back a little bit. And the one place where instructions are, again, wrong is that they tell you just pull this out. You can't just pull that out. You got to actually release it by opening this up a little bit. We can actually rotate these little side pieces up. We're going to need to do that anyways. And then you can go ahead and pull this out. There's a little flip out front piece. Bring that up for now. And then we're going to have to slide this entire spine kind of wheel backpack thing up. So you just need to slide that up, pull it up as far as you can, and like I said, keep these pieces up, which will help with the next piece. So here, we're going to flip up the hip skirts and then rotate them around 180 degrees. So they get right in here like so. Same thing on this side. And then these kind of oblique pieces, they're going to follow suit. So you're going to untab them here from these rock hard abs that Cup has, even in his old age. Push them back, and these are going to all fit inside the backpack. Alright, from here, here's the first key piece. Well, here, let's just rotate this up. You do need to use both of these hinges to rotate this up. We'll just rest these here for now. We can clean that up later. But the most important thing here is that the shoulders here, they have a little cutout here, and that's really important. So what you need to do is make sure that this screw is facing upwards. So we want to rotate this piece in. You can see it goes in like this. We want to get the bicep rotated out, just the bicep, not the shoulder. And I'll show you why. Again, we'll do the same thing here. Tuck this down. And you want to have it kind of like this, not straight. You want to have it kind of one ratchet click tucked in like this. And I'll show you why. So when we come back here, this spine piece that, or the pieces that hold the wheels in. Oh, sorry, it was supposed to be directly up. Sorry. So the screw should be facing directly up, not one ratchet in. So when you have these down, there's a little pin rotating piece here, this rounded piece. That's what goes inside that little groove cutout that we saw before, this thing. So it's very critical that you have that in the right position. So again, the easiest way to show it is to make sure that you have the screw facing directly up. And that way, those little notches will line up correctly and allow you to put the wheels in, and this whole spine piece will sit a lot flatter. So coming back to the front here, just make sure that these biceps are in as much as possible, and then you use the double jointed elbows to get the forearms tucked in like that. These screws should be showing. The other screws should be facing directly up. These little tab pieces should be, or slots, should be facing directly out to each side. So that's the really important part. All right. So I'm gonna go take a detour from the instructions again. Rotate this piece around on both sides, and I'm gonna go ahead and fold and tab them in like this. Use the double hinge to bring the panel down. It's a lot easier to do this now, and they don't even show this in the instructions, but yeah, you want to do that now. And then you want to rotate on this double hinge all the way down. Kind of want to get these pieces kind of down here where that groove is. If you need to, you can rotate these pieces to hide the Autobot logo. I don't have one, so I don't need to do that. But go ahead and get these positioned, and then you're gonna push back on this. And there, you're nice and clean already. You can go ahead and tab this little peg in right here, or peg it in, peg the tab in, peg the peg in, whatever you want to say. I do that now. I don't seem to need to do it later. And again, I'll show you why. Oh, well, this thing keeps coming out, but ideally, it wouldn't do that. I don't know why it's coming out. It shouldn't be. Here, maybe I need to scooch these down a little bit. But these should be sitting in place. I'm not actually sure why it's not. But anyway, we'll keep going. That's the whole front of the cab. We're gonna deal with the rest of the cab, rest of the car now. So push the toe in. We're gonna pull up the shin and reveal the spring-loaded wheels. And here, what you need to do, I'm just showing you how it's done. You want to push outward on the knee to release this tab, slide it down. Once you do that, you want to bend at this lower knee joint, not the upper knee joint. Keep the lower upper knee joint as straight as possible. And then you're going to bend here at this pin joint there. All right. And then finally, you want to bend at this hinge. Doing all that should allow you to peg this in to the knee. I like to rotate it like this. Release this. We're going to go ahead and slide on this pin joint here and bring it all the way forward and tab that in. So let's just keep that like that for now. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Point the toes. Pull up the shin. Release, push outward on the knee joint so we can slide that piece up. Bend at the lower knee joint. Bend at this pin joint here. Bend down here. And then we'll go ahead and we can peg that in now, or we can extend this piece once again using that sliding joint like so. So for now, you should have everything kind of in this position. I wish these pegged in a little bit more securely instead of just kind of being place fillers. But here's where the critical part is. So when you pull that in, pull this down, you want to make sure that as much as possible, this backpack is aligned correctly. This is going to come down, and you'll see this screw kind of come through here. So one of the critical things is that they don't really show you is this big gap here. This actually has a corresponding tab here, and that if you don't mess with that and get that in, it's going to make your life a lot harder. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is go ahead and bring this flatbed section up and have it aligned with these pieces here so that they can come in. And what I do is take it one side at a time. So we'll start with the right side. I release this just a tiny bit so I can get this in, this little tab in. And then I pull up underneath. And that's really it. But you need to finish by, again, making sure that this leg tabs in. So you heard it definitively click in. Oh, so this piece came out, but you can just do a little bit of cleanup there. And everything sits into place very nicely. So same thing on this side. Make sure that this is in. Push this up just a tad to get this side in, this tab in. like so. Get this in and then just push down on this. Again, if you're having problems, it's probably because your thigh is not tabbed in here. So there we go. See, because the thigh was tabbed in, everything just kind of sits into place. And again, I'm not sure why this one's not, oh, there we go. There we go. All right. Yeah. So once you have that all done, you're good to go. So with a little, I transformed this maybe 3 or 4 times after the live stream review debacle, and just looking and investigating a little bit and trying out some things made it so that I was able to do this way quicker. That was less than 10 minutes with a lot of explanation showing you how to get this guy into alt mode. So like I said in my live stream, it was a lot harder the first time, and maybe because I wasn't able for some reason to figure out those little tips, like how to get this part in, all this stuff in the back in a lot easier. The correct orientation for the shoulders is super critical. Again, with those purposeful little cutouts for the wheel armatures. But those few things that I showed you make this transformation so much easier. It makes this whole cleanup thing a lot easier, having this already in place instead of trying to get this tabbed in here because that thing is on a rotating piece, trying to get this in, trying to get this in. And yeah, the thigh thing, all that combined are little things, but they all add up since there's so many moving parts. So let's get him back into robot mode, and that'll be it for these instructions. So the first thing I'll do is coming out of alt mode. I do actually like to pop these out, even though it's not completely necessary. But it does give you a little bit more freedom on this, to give you a little bit more, I guess, give or whatever. And then from here, what I like to do is, again, kind of do a pushing up on this side and pushing down on this side, just a little bit to release that. So same thing on this side, just kind of give it a little turn like that. And from here, you can already start transforming this piece all the way back. You will have to, once again, use this telescoping pin joint. This time we're going to go to the outside, bring it down like that. Actually, let's just go with one leg fully. Here, what I want to do next is actually release or pull up on the leg to release that thigh tab, and that lets everything else kind of fall out of place. Straighten out the leg, straighten this out, slide it down, and make sure that this tabs in. Close that up, toe out, we're good. So same thing on this side, we've already released this, we just want to go ahead and get this piece all the way back. I'm going to slide this in like so, close that up, pull up on the thigh tab, that releases everything. Slide this down and in, close up the shin, fold up the toe, lower body donezo. Next up, let's go ahead and mess with this since we already have it. Just rotate that around. We're going to basically separate the front and the back. Just bring these down. Go ahead and collapse these while we have it. Fold this piece down while we have it. And then from here, I'd like to go ahead and rotate these sections down. We're going to need to do that anyway. Fold up these backpack pieces, these flaps on the side, untab them from here. Sorry, let me scooch up just a little bit. All right, from here, we're going to pull back on all this. You can pull back the head, rotate it around if you did like I do. You can pull these little flappy pieces out. They tend to want to sink back in. You can rotate these down like so. Oh, sorry. This is something that came off on mine during the live stream review because I kept mistransforming it. But yeah, you can just push that back in. So fold these straight out. Bring the arms up and around. We'll just straighten them out later. But we need to get these ab pieces, or oblique kind of pieces, out from behind here. Same thing with the hips, hip skirts. Pull those out. Same thing here. Move those around, they tab in. These hip skirts fold around, like so. We're gonna come back down. This piece needs to, oh, sorry. The spine rail, where the wheels are, this needs to come down. Just give it a bit of a jostle. Sometimes it gets stuck. There we go. From here, we can rotate these pieces in. This will go fold in on itself, and then we can close this up. So again, you need to do it in that specific order. You can't fold the wheels in and expect to get that in without doing this first and then closing these up. These pieces flipped around again. But anyway, you get the idea. This will go ahead and close up. Oh, these flappy pieces. All right, like so. That big neck peg will peg in first. This piece will come down on the double hinge. You can see a whole bunch of pegs there. That will go in. Just bring this up slightly so that this can tuck in. Tab those in. Bring up the backpack and tab that in. Bring the shoulders down. Rotate at the bicep. Shoulders down, rotate at the bicep. And with that, in less than, well, about 15 minutes, we got this guy from robot mode to alt mode and back with a lot of explanation, and was done almost without any kind of concern, issues, pretty smoothly, no cuts. So hopefully this provides some redemption for my live stream. Hopefully this helps any of you who've had struggles with this for the last 2 years, or if you're just getting him with a reissue, hopefully this transformation video helps out. All right, thanks a lot everyone, hope you have a good one.